Hello, in this video I'll be demonstrating how to make up hair textures inside Strand Designer and applying them to your hair cards later on. Now, Strand Designer is kind of limited in functionality. It does simple hair strands without too much variation and noise. You can increase the variation sliders here to give you slightly different results, as well as change some of the frequency settings and the amount of waviness. You can also change some of the parameters here. Now, they do affect all strands until you say otherwise. Down here you can de-influence different parts. And that is number 6. So if I hold down the number 6, I can actually move this over and create some nice overlap. Now, I've actually increased the number of strands that you see, and I've also been modifying the display using the mouse wheel and the up and down arrow keys just to get a little bit more definition at this point. But to see the final result, which is slightly different calculation, it's more accurate, it might look a good bit different, but this is a guide, and the reason for this is because the algorithm kind of randomizes each strand that it creates based on the number of points that it's going to make, so it's not one-to-one. Okay, so it's rendered out this here. Now, to make this look even more varied, it'd be a good idea to, so I'll go back to the previewer, change the length. So we'll hold down 6, that's this one here. I'm going to change the length of the 6th one and change it to something like 3000. It's made it a little bit shorter, and now it's going to move that a bit more, and so the problem here is that everything is getting the same influence, but what you would do is you'd build up your textures bit by bit. Let's see if I take 4 here and move it across, and then 5, move that one. Okay, so I'm just going to render that just to see how this looks together. It's a little bit too synthetic and wavy maybe, so I'm just going to bring that waviness right down. And that's a bit better. Frequency, it could be quite straight and it could be kind of wavy. Let's do more variation. I'll take away that uniformity a bit. Okay. So it's quite open at the bottom, so I'm going to tighten up some of these parts to make them more like clumps. Right, and that's because I'm taking the taper influence back up, and here's the sort of global setting for that. You can get some hairs kind of flying away, and you can control more of that if you press F8. You can decide how much each path should sort of move. You could even do something like this and enter to go back, and that really noises things up, and you can change the amounts. These are all globals, right? But once you've put these in, you can take them back out of each set. Makes the UI a little bit convoluted, but these things are works in progress. Right, so now I've got this big clump here. I can generate that and see how it looks. A bit more going on with it. Nice little kind of straggle here, and it's much more of a straggly clump. Now, so I'm going to save that, and eventually I'd build this all up with different bunches, and I can combine them all later in Photoshop. So I'm just going to save this as, let's see, make a new folder if it will let me. Yeah. So Windows is not showing me what I'm making when I make it. Come out and go back in. This is the Windows Update state-of-the-art stuff. So this is here, Strand Designer demo set 1. Okay, so that's going to be there, and I'm going to export this map. Call it set 1 guide for now. So I've saved the file. I know the algorithm. I can generate all that other stuff later if I want. I can load it back in, but I'll generate everything I need for now, like all these maps. Now, if you're going to be doing all these at the same time, there's a chance that it might crash, because you're asking it to do a lot, especially with the AO map. It tries to, I don't know, it just kind of gets stressed out and crashes. Not like it's Maker. I tend not to get stressed out and crash that often at all. So it's a good idea to maybe wait until these are generated. They're much simpler for it to make. So I'm going to generate those. I guess I didn't have to export that guide. It's all going to be one set, right? So most of these are created: flow, depth, ID, color, mask, normal map, and frizz map if you need it, right? And I'll just generate the AO map now. It takes a little bit longer. It does 4 or 5 passes to work out where the shadows go, and it gives you, you know, a decent looking shadowy map there, right? So I'm going to export all of these, yeah, and the HSD, why not? Let's call this set 1 leftmost, right? And just ask where to save. Now it's going to export each map. So this is the way I would build up. Here's some people might just use the one-off generation and get everything they need, like all the different strands and passes. But because this algorithm's quite globalized and it's hard to control individual clumps just in this version, maybe in the future, definitely in here Strand Designer 2, there is going to be individual control for each set, and it's more one-to-one. What you render is what you get, but there's a bit of progress being made with that. Okay, but here, so I've generated everything I need. I've saved the HSD file. I can basically, you know, restart this now. So if you press F6, it will restart. It keeps the, I think it's kept the mixer data by the looks of it. If I press F8, yeah, it's kept that data there, so that's fine. And I've just escaped out of it. If you press escape, then it will escape the software. I should really have a notification up. Right, so what I want to do now is load an image. I'm going to load that guide up. Right, and we can see it there. So if I change the number of strands right down, and I'm going to press 1 and move this one across to a point where I feel that I can work. Somewhere about there. Let's go down a bit. Right. And now I can make up brand new sets, so I can create number of strands, take spacing down, I can do set distance right down, shift that across more because it's moving to the left. It's moving everything to the left. And that's going to be my clump there, so I'll render that. Just want to see how this looks. Okay, apart from the bad offset at the top. Right, that's cool. So back to the previewer, and it's going to adjust. Tells me the offset's minus 50 here. This one's 152, so let's do them all minus 50. Lovely. Okay, some variation, a bit of waviness. Some tapering. I quite like that separate bit. Hopefully that comes through. It doesn't always do the same thing. Alright, not too bad. These could be useful. I'll do a tiny bit more spacing. Maybe de-influence tapering here and there. And this little kind of flyaway, hopefully that keeps as well. It's like, it's one of those things where you need to really kind of try things out. The waviness is just a bit too high. Okay. Now compared with that, that's also not working as well. Let's try some of these. Go into that again, press F8, and let's change this up a bit. And enter to come back, you see that's like a whole lot now. De-influence some of them. get some wild hairs here. Some of these influences maybe are a bit high. That one. You can make it go the other way as well. Could be useful. Yeah, bring that one in a bit. Which one is that? Strand 2. Just going to move that over. Sneak that in there a bit. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, we get a bit more interesting stuff happening. I'm going to go back to F8 and let's just make this a little less crazy. Okay, I think that did it. I've never noticed much difference there. Okay, when you change the paths, they don't actually ask you to remake this. Okay, that's a little bug. Some of these bits up here are a little bit janky, but they will be well covered with more hairs. The hairs don't really do that in real life up here. It could just be the offset. Let's just change that a bit. It's been a while since I looked at Strand Designer in any detail like this. So you can see that there's a bit of work to be done still, and I've actually started working Strand Designer 2, which is giving you all the controls that you need instead of trying to de-influence global controls, which is kind of what life feels like politically sometimes. I don't know whether to, let's see, make this a tiny bit higher, a little bit more variation. Fading's fine. Let's add a little bit more of the root tone, just for extra variation. So I'm trying to keep these tones the same. At the end of the day, it's going to give me an RGB mask, which I can bring in brand new colours with, using shaders and things. Yeah, it still seems to be a little bit of a nasty kink. Okay, I've probably been too fussy with it. That for me will work. Quite messy, noisy hair, nice big clump, and it should work. So I can export, I can introduce all the other ones here and generate. I say always leave AO to the last, just in case it crashes. I should actually have saved it, but it's fine, I'll save it once it's generated. Okay, and generate the AO map. And I'm going to export everything. So this will be set to, I'm just going to call it mid. Alright, save it there. taking a bit longer than normal. I don't know if that's to do with the recording, but it used to be a lot faster than this. It's kind of speeding up now. There we go. Right, so that's done and saved. I can exit out here. I'm going to go into Photoshop and I am going to open up those files. So HSD. In here, and I'm just going to have a look at the two color files. Right, I can bring in their masks as well, actually, just to show you how you could go about this. Right, so I'm going to take that mask and I'll paste that there, right, and then this one, paste that in here. Kind of like the way you would in ZBrush when you're compositing an image. Just going to copy that and paste that in there, and copy that, make a mask, alt click and paste that in there. Right, and what I've got now is the two sets of hairs. Albeit their background's a bit messed up. Now the other easy way to do this is just to not use mask at all and bring in the images, right, and just little selection over the area, because you want a bit of that background tone. I think the mask is just a bit too precise. It's good for your alpha cutout, but in here it's not as good. So I'm going to do that, and then that way I can see both. And I can use that mask. In fact, I put this in a folder and drag that mask up. Get rid of it here, right? Let's delete. And then I put everything in here as the left set. And then I can start to bring in all the other images related to that set, and they'll all be masked the same. So I've just got my folder up open here, and I'll just go to the leftmost. Everything but color, or whatever I need. I don't need to bring them all in, but I'll bring these in, and you can see everything's getting masked. Right, so basically I can build up a whole bunch of different hair clusters this way. Maybe it depends on the character you're making, and you know, these could be used later for your own personal characters and things like that. Takes a while to make a cluster this intricate in this version of Hair Strand Designer, but in the future, hopefully, I'm going to be able to bring all this into, you know, just one simple system, a bit like Max's Hair and Fur, that you can actually see what you're going to do. I'll give you a quick peek at Hair Strand Designer 2 video that I've been working on. So I've got YouTube. And let's just type in HSD2. Might not get it that way. Let's do here Strand Designer 2. Okay, this is where I left off with this. It looks familiar, at least, but you've got control of all your different sets here. I'm pretty much copying my own actions, and the algorithm so far is very generic. There's a lot of things still to be added, but it's what you see is what you get now. You get all this control, and you can reduce the look of it just to keep performance good. So it's been in development for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months maybe, and then, you know, the coronavirus came and there was a lot of work having to be done from home, and my hours were all over the bit, and I used to work on this on my commute, which was quite nice, but now I finished my day job and basically don't work anymore. Back to freelance, back to making assets, back to making tools. I can now come back to this and work on it, and I'm a little bit excited because here Strand Designer 1 is limited and good and for getting something quick and easy without too much hassle. Whereas this one, as you can see, you can control the algorithm per set, and that's what makes this a bit more exciting. And it works at 4K, and yeah, just all the usual stuff. There's the sort of editor there as well, which will be worked on. I may work on this a bit more than intended to make it even better, because there's new things that I learn all the time. And this is me showing you here Strand Designer 1 in that video, just to show you what the difference is. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let's go back here and just have a look. So again, make a new set. This will be the mid set. And I can drag over that area. And then just click my mask and pop that in there. And then all the other files related to that, everything but the color one. Should be coming over. Windows has been a bit weird lately. Yeah, I'm just getting a not responding. This Windows is being weird. Might be slow or it's crashed. Yeah. So Windows is basically an application that runs over Windows and it has its own sort of nuances and crashes. And the latest update, it doesn't show me any new folders when I create them. I have to come out of the folder and go back into it. I don't know if you guys are having that same issue, but this is an improvement. Come on. It's supposed to go forward, not backwards. Let's see. So mid yellow color. Let's try this again. Don't need the color one. No, this time it's fine. Right, so I'll just pop all these in. Okay. Let's put that RGB mask at the top. Right, so then you can move that set, that whole set can get moved to where you want it. Something like there, right? And you can build out all your different sets. Now it's a bit of a process, similar to using, you know, on Matrix or XGen or Max's Hair and Fur and rendering it out, but at least with this you get all the maps that you need and getting that look that you want. You know, eventually you can come back to these and like borrow them and mix up other textures and make your own little texture palettes. I was thinking at one point to have like pre-made strands. That's what I was looking at here, was what if I gave you a whole bunch of strand types and you could basically pick and mix which ones you wanted and how much. But I was thinking also that might be a bit tricky when you want to scale and maybe move things. They're going to look the same. So yeah, having it generate the hairs dot by dot the way that it does it is probably the best way forward. So that's all good. I guess now I could go back to that document and, you know, make a copy of these. Merge the group, add black background, and I'm just going to call this layout, something that I can update each time. I can go back into your Strand Designer. Now this is Game Maker, which it was made in, and it's got its limitations. So I have been looking into using Unity for this kind of thing, but it's a whole different mindset and it may have problems later, so I don't want to waste too much time on that. I will work in HSD2 in Game Maker, as I was already kind of progressing with that. and I'll look at, you know, what's in store for the future with hair strand design applications. Right, so I'm going to load in that preview there, and this gives me an idea where things are going to go, and I can then change you know, the number of strands. I'm going to put reduction right up so that I just have this one set, right? Reduction right up, and then spacing wise, well, I could just take one and move it across, put it roughly there. Now let's see what I can get if I do everything in the one set. Right, everything in one set, so I'll do number of strands quite high. In fact, I can set absolute amount. Let's do 100 strands, and let's do the mouse wheel up so we can actually see most of those. Right, it only shows me 60, right, but it's good enough. Bit of tapering with this one. Right, let's go a nice big bit of tapering, good bit of variation. Do that max. So this is the frequency, the waviness frequency, right, and this is how much push there is of that. Right, and let's put color map on and check that out. That's pretty cool. Let's bring in a little bit of the influences here. Offset, just so something different, a bit more variation. Let's try that. I think a bit more spacing would be good. Now the thing that here Strand Designer 1 doesn't have is it doesn't have the tapering at the top, right? Because hair comes from a certain point, then either tapers out or tapers in. So what you can do is you can change the spacing down, and then you can put the tapering this way, or change the taper algorithm into negative, and that will kind of give you that. But it doesn't go out then back in again. Might try to, or might look like it is, but it doesn't quite do that. So it's kind of, you know, one or the other. I'm just going to change the definition a bit so I can see it a bit better. So you see every time I click this, it changes. Now if you want that, you can click the dice, right? So you click that dice and it will give you something different. You can render it. Dice, render. Let's add a bit more spacing to that. So it's up to you how patient you are with this kind of thing. How many stacks you want to put on top of each other. Like if I did make, yeah, that's quite nice, but I want something a bit more kind of crazy over the top of it, then I can like absolute strand count here, do something like 4, and now I can see, if I hold down, oh, I put in 200 there, 4, right, and I move that across. Why I keep typing in 200. Okay, let's try that again. Yeah, and I can get a few stragglers in that set. So sometimes you will have to overlap things to get what you want, and that's where here Strand Designer 2 makes all of this much easier. You can copy and paste, you know, algorithms between each and there'll be some presets and things like that. I'm going to generate this one. And yeah, it's not bad, but not great. Let's click that dice. Again, just do it a couple of times. It's just a shame we don't see exactly the same thing. That's the major downfall of the way that I've built this, and I'm still trying to get my head around whether I can fix it or not. It's just when it shows the previewer, there's a different number of steps, and the initial randomization comes at the start, and because it's happening at different intervals from the render, it's just one of those things. I might have to like cache some numbers or something, no idea. But I may look into it, or just carry on with Strand Designer 2, where we don't have to worry about that anymore. I just need to make sure that I make everything as good as, if not better. Right, that's still not as crazy as I want it to be. Let's go back into the, yeah, this needs to be a bit wilder. And if I use the right arrow key or up, there we go, I can change some of these other ones. Right, I just want to get a little bit of crazy noise in here. There's not many people know about this. It's definitely a kind of alpha feature. A beta feature, I've called it. Yeah, sometimes you can make them too much. It just goes a bit crazy. Right, let's move that about like that. Go the other way with this one. No. Yeah, do that. And let's bring some in here. Let's do 6 for this one. And make sure you press enter and click somewhere. That seems to be a bug, that now that you've got the ability to press a number and move this, I've overlooked something. I just want something else to help break this up a bit. Right, I can change the length of that actually. Let's go 3800 to make that longer. And let's just make sure. Yeah. Okay, let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's a bit more like it, some of these stragglers. Let's going to make it a bit more wavy, a tiny bit more frequency. Let's roll the dice again. No. Variation, that will help things. Okay, that's a bit wild and crazy. I'll go with that one. And again, I'm just gonna, well, what I'll do is I'll save. I'll export and save this first, so I can give it a name at least, and call this new mid set. Right, just so that it saves. Save that one, and then I'll generate all these other ones. Not AO. Again, I like to leave that till last on its own. And yeah, I can check these out, make sure everything's good. But yeah, I know that it is. I know what it does, so I know that most of this is going to be fine. And AO, as long as you don't re-randomize anything, you'll be fine. Let's export everything. What's that called? Mid set, new mid set. Yeah. It's asked me to save it again anyway, so all that does is just give you the name. It's a weird feature that I had to hack in. Again, I'm working with limited knowledge of programming. I'm an artist trying to use a game engine to make an art tool, and unfortunately Game Maker is the only thing I know proficient enough. It's the only thing I know enough to make something like this. It's been fun, sure has been fun, and scary at times when things don't work, or you know, people start using it and you get feedback and it's like, oh no, it actually is a tool that can be used. So I've done that one, I've saved it so I can in theory just exit out of this. Yep, that should be good. It should also be saving the strand algorithm points. If it doesn't do that, I'll be shocked and stunned. So let me just run it up again, because if that's the case, I may have to fix that. So I can load in one of these files, new mid set. I think that looks a bit different, so let me just check. Yeah, so it's not bothered to save these, right? So that's now something I need to fix, because there's no way back at this point. Alright, so I will push that in a new update, and here I'll just be doing the same thing as before and building up this image. So that's pretty much for it for this video. It wraps up here Strand Designer 1. It's just the occasional little bug fix here and there and tidying things up. There's very little I can do with it, and I'll move on to here Strand Designer 2 again within the next few weeks. So I look forward to giving you updates with that, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.